You're listening to Will County's News Talk Sports 1340 WJOL. It's a Tuesday morning. It's time for Money Talk, brought to you by NuMark Credit Union. Coming up next, we're going to talk with a couple of folks, one from NuMark, one from the Crest Police Department. Going to talk about some Halloween safety tips, courtesy of NuMark Credit Union. Before we do that, let's remind you that, did you know that credit unions help change lives every single day? There are 260 million members in 117 countries that celebrate credit unions. NuMark is celebrating with their Member Appreciation Event, October 11th through the 26th. So what's going on right now, there'll be door prizes and special gifts for members and an auto special that you do not want to miss. Let NuMark Credit Union help you do more with your money. Be a part of banking that works for you. Learn more and apply by calling them at 815-729-3211 or visiting them on their website at newmarkcu.org. That's NUMARKCU.org. Tina Oberlin is here. She is the Credit Union Teller Supervisor at NuMark. Hello, Tina Oberlin.
Hi, how you doing today?
Nice. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you.
It's good to see you again, Scott.
You had to come real. Did you walk over here or did you drive?
I actually drove.
All right.
It's raining, you know. And I'm so sweet I would melt, and we didn't want that to happen. So I drove.
Oh, gosh, I've heard it all now. Part of that is true. The part about the sweet part.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And the police chief for Crest Hill is Chief Ed Clark. Joins us live in our WJO studios. Hello, Chief.
Good morning, Scott.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
We appreciate you stopping by. We do this traditionally, Halloween safety tips, right, Tina?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we like that.
We do.
All right, before we get into the topic du jour, if you will, if you can, though, Tina, tell everybody a little bit about what's going on with this big Customer Appreciation Month or Member Appreciation Month.
Right.
Kind of a cool way to say thank you, right?
It is, and we've been raffling off these goodie bags to the members. We're doing 3 each week at each location, and it's really kind of fun because when you pull the name and you call them and they're like, I've never won anything before in my life. I told you that, and I made you sign out that slip. And they're like, yeah. And they're excited, and there's some cool things in there, you know, from different businesses around here. And there was an Echo Dot in one of them, and
Ooh.
I know, so they're kind of really nice, and we have a couple more to give away, so it's not too late to come enter. And you know, if you're looking for a car, or if you have a car with a loan somewhere and you want to get a better loan rate, you know, we can hopefully get it down and save you money. That's our goal. We always want to help our members to save money.
That's good. And describe to our listeners why you call your customers members. Well, what does that mean, member?
Well, in a credit union, you're a part of it. You own a $5 share, and you're invested in it, and you're a member. You're not a customer. And everything we do, we're doing for you. We're saving money for you. We're looking out for you, and you're just not another number in an institution that's just out to make money. That's not our goal. Our goal is always to focus on our members.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So your role as the Credit Union Teller Supervisor, what do you do on a daily basis?
Well, I do a lot of things. I run the teller line. I help the tellers. I run a drawer in a lot of cases when we're short. If there's an issue or a member that needs something special attention, or there's a problem they're having, I'm always there to help them.
Good.
If they call in and they are having trouble with something, I'm there to give them a hand and do whatever I can to fix things or help them straighten out whatever might be wrong.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about why you guys decided to spend your time today talking about Halloween safety tips. You guys want to be a good part of the community, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that. And let's welcome in the police chief from Crest Hill, Ed Clark. This is a lot better than some of the stuff that we talk to you about from time to time. Chief, I mean, in all seriousness.
It's nice for a change.
It is. It absolutely. I mean, we are. I mean, Crest Hill's a town of what, 25, 30?
20,000.
That's what I thought, 20, somewhere in there. 20. I was going to say 25, right? 20,000 people. But, you know, we're all in this together. Joliet's a big town. Plainville's got a lot of people. Bolingbroke's got a lot of people. So while, you know, many towns of 22,000 people don't see a lot of violent crime and stuff like that, not that Crest Hill does, but it's still difficult for you to have to, you know, to deal with all of those things, because a lot of the things that are happening in Crest Hill are happening because of people from outside your town.
That does happen a lot, and just Will County in general, it's a mobile society.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you have people from other locations, towns that are committing crime in one other town, and that's just the way that the society is today. So, you know, we have professionals on the street, we have professional investigators, and we're prepared to handle those things.
Tell everybody a little bit about your background, your law enforcement career. Where did it start?
I worked for an agency up north. Well, before that, I was in Will County. I was a correctional guard.
for you.
And then I went up north to Barrington Hills, a very nice community up there.
Oh,
Worked
yeah.
3 years there, got my feet wet, and started talking about moving back home where I live, and we decided let's test at Crest Hill. I was familiar with the area, I had family there, so
Sure.
liked the community. So I was very fortunate to get hired and worked in patrol, worked as an investigator, worked as a sergeant in patrol on the street, and from there became deputy chief and was fortunate enough to be promoted to the chief back in 2017. So
It's been that long.
it has.
Been that long. Where'd you grow up?
Joliet.
Okay.
St. Pat's neighborhood.
St. Pat's, and then what high school?
Joliet Catholic.
Joliet Catholic. See, I didn't know all this.
Yep.
This is good. Get to know your chief.
Graduated in 92.
All right.
Yeah, Mike Allstott was on our football team. Wonderful guy, and had a lot of really good memories there.
All right. So what position did you play?
I was a defensive tackle.
All right. I had a feeling it was going to be on one of the lines. Had broad shoulders.
Yeah,
hard for you to walk through the
unfortunately,
door. I remember. I mean, that was when I just first got to the area, and I remember doing some of those games. So I would have called some of your games. And one thing I noticed too, and I noticed our police chief and Shannon's the same thing. You don't wear a white shirt. You wear what looks like a patrol uniform.
Yeah, I like to be a part of the team, be a part of the organization. The white shirt is more for just maybe a more formal occasion,
Okay.
things of that sort. I just like being part of the organization, so it makes me
like
feel
that.
more part of
I like that.
everybody that's doing the job. So.
Yeah, did you ever ask him about that before?
No, I didn't, but I just learned, and I hope it's correct on a TV episode, the difference between the short sleeves and long sleeves. And when they're trainees, they are required to wear long sleeves. Is that true?
Not for us.
Oh.
When they're in the academy, they do have to
Yeah.
wear them.
And
Okay,
then
yeah.
Once
Police
they
academy, yeah.
roll up, then they can wear their.
Yeah.
They get to wear their short sleeves. I saw that on an episode of The Rookie. I learned that, so I was very.
We
excited.
learn everything in our society now, online or on television.
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
No, I've always noticed that, and I kind of, not that it's, white shirts are great, but I kind of respect that because you're all one team, and just because you have a higher rank doesn't mean you should look different. I like that. I always wanted to tell you that, and I figured today would be a good day to do that.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, Chief. Well, Halloween is, a week. It's a week from Thursday. Lordy, lordy, lordy.
I know.
It's coming.
It is. Well, what are the hours, first of all, for Crest Hill?
Crest Hill's from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Very similar to other towns around us. We moved back years ago, if I remember correctly. It's a lot of parents get home from work, and the old 3 to 6 or 3:30 to 6 was a little too early.
Yep.
They didn't feel like they had enough time, so we moved it up a little bit, which causes some issues as far as visibility. So that's something people need to be aware of.
It does, but what's good about, I think it gets dark probably, around 6:30-ish now?
Yeah.
So this is good that, we do have plenty of daylight, and there's not too many kids running around when it's dark outside. What have you seen through your experience over the years? We're talking to parents now. Their kids want to be this, that, or the other. What should you tell parents, though, about what kind of costumes our kids should wear to make sure that they're safe?
Well, I would avoid masks. A lot of times masks aren't made very well, and they are a vision obstruction. So I would try to avoid those. I would make sure that whatever costume they have on it, they're not going to trip on. If it's a dark colored costume, when they're out on this trick or treating, maybe get some reflective tape, put something around them, make them wear a vest. I know that might be a struggle with your kid, but do something to make them more visible. Those are some issues that I would definitely strongly consider. That you want to be visible, you don't want to be in any kind of tripping hazard. Make sure that they can see.
Yeah. We are with our kids. We have a costume on. We're about ready to start trick-or-treating. Tell us how to proceed here safely, if you will.
Well, what you should have at this point, you should have already talked about having a route that you're going to go.
Okay.
If you are allowing your children to go, if they're old enough by themselves, they have to be home at a certain time. Make sure that that's strongly enforced. You have to be home at a certain time. They stay on their routes. Put your cell phones away. Don't be looking at a cell phone crossing the street. Make sure that you know exactly where they're going to be and that they do not vary from that route.
It's funny you mentioned cell phones, Tina. I was walking. I don't know where I was I think maybe it was in a store, and me and a lady ran into each other. Both had our heads buried in the phone.
Well,
And I'm like, what am I doing, man? Come on. It was an email from work, and I was reading it, and apparently she was doing the same thing, so doink. Now, that wasn't bad, hitting another woman in a store, but walking into traffic is another story.
well, or people who are looking at their phone while they're driving. Not a good idea.
Oh,
not
gosh.
a good idea.
No, not at all.
Our whole society really needs to take a chill on that.
Now, we could do a whole show on that one time.
Oh, you could do a series of shows because it's like I could write a book. Trust me.
I know. Oh, and it's funny, Chief. I mean, to digress here just for a couple of moments, I don't know what I was watching the other day. It was a feature about a town that it takes it very, very seriously to the extent of, the bucket trucks that Public Works has. They'll set up Public Works bucket trucks by certain parts of the road, so they're elevated, and it's like stoplights and things like that. And when people are sitting there, they can look down into their car, and then they have a detail, quarter mile down the road, and they go, we have you on, we have pictorial evidence of you. I mean, that's how some municipalities, how seriously they're taking it, and it's not really a bad idea.
Yeah, more and more. I mean, it's become a problem. People are, even if they don't admit it, and you could probably attribute a lot of these accidents, rear-end collisions, things of that sort, to people looking at their phone.
Yeah, yeah, no
Well, it just
question.
takes 1 second. That 1 second.
Yeah.
Not watching what you're doing, and boom.
You got it. All right, so let's talk to the people giving out candy that night. There are some certain things that parents need to do or adults who don't have kids need to do to make sure kids coming up to your house are safe.
Well, I would, just visually look and make sure the kids are safe. They're standing with an adult. If something's wrong. You can look out there and see something's not right, and give the police a call. Call them and say, hey, I just saw these group of kids come up. This makes me a little bit nervous. And we'll check it out. There's no problem with that. As far as giving out candy, make sure that, I would avoid the old days where you used to bake your own stuff.
Yeah.
Avoid any of that. I think that's a liability you take on. But I would probably just make sure your candy's packaged and, if you're a parent and your kids are getting candy, we all know children that have the allergies to different things. Make sure you go through the candy at the end of the night. Tell the child do not eat this stuff until you get home. And make sure that that's something they understand. When you get home, have your parents look at it, go through it, make sure everything's in good order. The packages are all still sealed and everything's good.
Sure, and some people, Tina, even as Chief mentioned, they take the time to make something homemade.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to get eaten. Most parents now, when they see something homemade in their kid's bucket, it goes right in the garbage.
And same thing like with apples. In the old days, even the caramel apples, some people will take the time to make a caramel apples. It's a wonderful gesture, but I think the majority of them will be tossed unless the people know you personally and know that there's nothing wrong with it, because you don't want to take that risk. There's too many stories you hear about things on apples, and it's too easy to taint it, fruit, so don't bother.
Folks, keep it tuned right here to 1340 WJOL. At the end of Money Talk, which is a handful of minutes away, we're going to ask you a question, and the answer has either already been put out on the radio from the Chief or from Tina, or will be in the next 6 or 7 minutes. And if you are the first caller on the Turk Furniture studio line at 254-7300, we will give you a $25 Visa gift card, compliments of NuMark Credit Union. All right, Chief, what about pet lovers? What tips do you have for pet lovers?
Well, pet lovers, as far as, I would just avoid, if you're going to go out with the pet, make sure they have maybe a reflective material on. Make sure that you have them leashed, obviously always leashed. And, if you know your pet and you know that your pet is maybe a little bit skittish around children, maybe it's not a good time to take your pet out. Keep it inside. A lot of kids come in the door. Sometimes that causes a lot of anxiety with the dog. Maybe try and put them down into a basement or another room, turn some music on, see if you can keep them a little more calmly when that happens. But make sure you have control of your pet. The kids are going to be coming. They see a dog and they want to pet it, and the dog may not take that very well, and you just have to be aware of that. When you send your kids out as well, tell them if there's pets at the house, maybe you can even just avoid the house, or you can just do your trick-or-treating, but don't be reaching out trying to pet the dogs and do anything like that. Just
that's a
try
good point.
Stay away from them.
Yeah, we rescued a dog in December. So we've never had her for Halloween, and she's 4 years old. It's going to be, we might have to put her in the bed or do something, because I don't know. She's great around little kids, but constantly over and over and over.
And all the noise.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt for me too. More importantly, it's a pain in the butt
my
for
dog
me.
thinks she's a lap dog, and she's a lab, so she's not a lap dog at all. So it's tough with little kids.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, so you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, Chief. The end of Halloween night, let's talk about what we should do before sitting down with the kids and enjoying some candy.
Well, I would go through the candy. If you see packages that are open, I would discard them. Make sure that, everything looks good. The packaging looks good. Doesn't look like it's tainted at all. I again, like we talked about earlier, avoid any kind of baked goods, things of that sort. I know the intent probably was very, very well intended, but I would avoid that at all costs. If you have any kind of allergies, make sure you screen it. Look online, research if there's certain candies that you're not sure of that may cause an allergic reaction. I would just research that before you let your kids consume it.
Okay. All right, Tina.
Yes.
What if you need a last-minute costume for the last-minute party?
Well, if you're creative, there are so many things you can come up with, just things in your house. But as the chief said about masks, they tend to blur people's visions. So makeup is always a good thing that you can do. And there are so many cute things you can throw together with stuff around your house, clowns and stuff that you wouldn't even realize. You have kerchiefs, I know I could probably put 20 things together at my house in a heartbeat. I mean, I used to work at the post office. Even I have my old pith helmet and stuff from being a postal worker. There are so many things I could throw together, and I'm sure other people, if they just look around their house, there are a lot of things that you could do, and do it safely with makeup, I would say, and as opposed to masks.
Yeah, I was looking. We did earlier this morning the top 10 Googled costumes. You Google and Google knows what you want. And I guess clowns are in one of the top 10 ones or something like that. Something from Star Wars.
Very popular.
Yeah, clowns are freaky though. I mean, some people, and I don't think it's a real good idea, dress up to try to scare people on Halloween. So you got these dudes that are a little bit older walking around as clowns, and it's just, I'm not a big fan, if you know what I mean. There was a dude a couple years ago, and this is true, and Chief, you may know about this because maybe he came to Crest Hill, but you know who Michael Myers is from Halloween, right?
Yep.
Scariest dude. Scariest thing. I still have nightmares about Michael Myers. There was a guy walking around over on the west side of Joliet. Don't know if he made it into Crest Hill. He's just walking through the neighborhood dressed like Michael Myers. Not just on Halloween either. Like a couple of nights before and a couple of nights. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
That was brutal. Guy's lucky he's still alive.
No kidding.
A buddy of mine said his neighbor was just sitting in his garage watching a game or whatever, and he saw the guy standing in his driveway where the sidewalk was, just staring at him and tilting his head like that. I would have been like, man.
911.
I would exactly.
Yeah.
Clark, Chief Clark, come help me, please. All right. So at the end of the day, to kind of wrap things up here, Chief, what should we take away from today's show about staying safe during Halloween?
Well, I think, again, make sure that you have your costumes are not loose, that you're not going to trip over them. Make sure that you can see visibly. Put down the cell phones when you're out there. Cell phones just if mom and dad can get a hold of you. I would say, especially for drivers on the other end of it, drivers, make sure that you're on the lookout. You're going to have kids running. Not all kids are doing what they're supposed to. They're going to be darting in between cars, things of that sort. So we know there's a lot of children going to be on the street. We have to be extra vigilant during this time. So I think that's the main thing. Make sure your kids are safe. Make sure they're on the right route that you guys have pre-planned. Make sure they come home when they're supposed to. And not go off the beaten path anywhere.
And if you don't go with your kids, make sure they go with other people.
That's right.
Not alone. Don't let any children go alone. That's not a good idea to send somebody out there by themselves.
Absolutely.
Not at all. What's your busiest neighborhood in Crest Hill? Cheney Manji?
Cheney's busy.
Cheney's big.
I would say up by where Tina lives is usually a busy town too, a busy area, I should say. Yeah. Those are two real big areas up off of Boreal and Division Street. Those subdivisions back in there is usually busy. A lot of children there, so it's good to see. It's nice to see all the kids out, and we're gonna have a nice, safe evening. We have extra patrol already set up. We're gonna be out visible with the kids, so we're gonna make sure it's a good, safe evening.
Oh, and to the homeowners that are giving out the treats, put your exterior lights on.
Yes.
Please put those on. That is wonderful.
Point.
Yeah, even if it's light out. Because if the light is on, people know it's okay.
You're
come
giving
on
candy. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't, turn your lights off and go watch television in some other part of the room, because there's nothing worse than a kid knocking on the door and some person opening up the door saying, I'm not giving you any candy. Go away, little kid. And they are out there. Trust me. I ran into a couple of those. Chief, good seeing you again, my friend. Thanks for stopping by.
Good to see you, Scott. Thank you.
Tina, as always, thank you. We appreciate it very much. Tina Oberlin, NuMark Credit Union Teller Supervisor, and Ed Clark, the police chief here in Crest Hill. All right, here's our trivia question for a $25 Visa gift card, 815-254-7300. First correct caller What high school did Chief Clark go to? A non-Halloween related question. He mentioned it earlier. I didn't know it. I learned it. What high school did Chief Clark go to? 815-254-7300. That's the Turk Furniture studio line. Call me right now. First correct caller wins a $25 Visa gift card courtesy of NuMark Credit Union. Where did you know that going on right now, NuMark has a customer appreciation event? It ends the 26th. Door prizes, special gifts for members, and an auto special that you do not want to miss. Let NuMark Credit Union help you do more with your money. Be a part of banking that works for you. Learn more and apply by calling NuMark at 815-729-3211 or by visiting them at their website, NuMarkCU.org. That's NuMarkCU.org. It's going to wrap things up for another edition of Slocum in the Morning. Thank you very much for listening. Coming up next, Davis Jasper's Life with Vitality.
Mama said, don't give up, it's a